Hi friends, welcome to my channel Popcorn. Today, we will discuss a thriller movie that was released in Bengali language. Let's start with the story of the film. The plot revolves around an investigative journalist who is working on a case. One day, while working at home, they hear a loud noise from a neighboring house. Concerned, they inform the police, and the journalist also goes to the scene with them. Upon arriving, the journalist finds that there are only sounds coming from inside the house. The police break down the door and enter with the journalist. Inside, the journalist starts taking a lot of photos. The camera person, who was there with them, is told by the police to leave the area and not take any more photos. The journalist explores the house and finds that the parents are scared in the bedroom. After reporting this to the police, they instruct the journalist and the camera person to leave the premises. The police take the parents into custody and later, the journalist and camera person are warned to stay away from the house and not to broadcast anything that could harm their reputation. The next day, the journalist and the camera person return to the house. They discover a photograph of a small child and a Nokia keypad mobile phone. When the noise inside the house gets louder, the camera person warns that there might be more problems. Later, the journalist receives a video call from their mother asking when they will marry their partner. The journalist responds that it will take some more time. At the same time, a person enters the room. The person, seen in the video call, is questioned by the journalist's mother about their identity. The person claims to be there for the rent of the house. Eventually, the journalist receives a call from a politician, warning them not to broadcast the news as it will ruin their reputation. The politician threatens them with dire consequences if they do not comply. The journalist considers the threat and decides to do what they wish, ending the call. The next morning, Shiva's mother calls again and asks when Shiva will marry Rahul. Hearing this, Shiva thinks Rahul is still a bit immature, so he responds that it will take some more time. Later, Shiva receives a call from his colleague who informs him that the parents found in the house last night are now in police custody. They have an opportunity to interview the parents now. Shiva goes to the parents to talk to them, but they are extremely scared and refuse to speak much. They are afraid and only mention a few things. The story goes back to reveal that the parents have a 7-year-old daughter who went missing during a trip. They had gone to a place called Alachar, but the daughter was not seen and has not been found since. The parents are deeply distressed and are searching desperately for their child. Meanwhile, there are loud noises coming from a house in the area, which leads the parents to believe that some mysterious force has taken their daughter. They are very troubled by this and continue their search in vain. When they finally leave the scene, they tell Shiva what happened. Shiva shows them the mobile phone found at the house and asks if they recognize it. Seeing the mobile phone, the parents become even more frightened and do not provide much information. They only say that there is some unknown power involved. Shiva then takes the phone to a repair shop to get it fixed. The technician tells him that the phone is not turning on and suggests changing the battery. Shiva gets the battery replaced and takes the phone back to his room. He examines the photos on the phone, hoping to find out what happened to the girl. The next day, while talking to his manager, Shiva expresses his concerns about the missing girl and wonders if there is some dark secret behind it. The manager tells Shiva to get ready for a report and suggests taking a camera along as well. Shiva, feeling that he does not need the camera anymore, decides to go alone. Shiva leaves the place and takes a taxi. He wonders where the girl could have disappeared from and goes to the location in the car. At the same time, Shiva receives a message. The message is coming from the keypad mobile found in the house. Shiva immediately goes to the mobile shop and asks if any SIM card was inserted in the keypad mobile. The shopkeeper says no SIM card was inserted. Shiva is puzzled. The message he received only contains 4 lines without any clear meaning. Later, Shiva talks to the cab driver and asks if he knows anything about the house he is supposed to visit. The cab driver says he doesn't know much but mentions that 20 years ago, a writer lived there who was very fond of and affectionate towards children. One day, the writer disappeared, and since then, children visiting the house have also been missing. The cab driver tells Shiva that the situation at the house is very eerie and that people are afraid to go there. Shiva decides to go to the hotel with the cab driver. While staying at the hotel, Shiva receives another message from the keypad mobile, saying that the girl has arrived there with interest. The next day, Shiva visits the local police station and shows them the photo of the girl, asking if they recognize her. The police officer responds that they have inquired with everyone in the vicinity and could only find a piece of a book. They have not found anything else in the house, so they decide to pass the piece of the book to Shiva. Shiva takes the book to his hotel. Meanwhile, Rahul calls him and asks why he has gone so far and says he is coming over. Shiva tells Rahul it's not a big deal. That night, while Shiva is sleeping, he hears some noises. He follows the sounds and discovers a dead body. Shiva is startled and thinks this might be a dream. The next morning, Shiva begins asking everyone around about the case. He encounters a girl who tells him that even now, loud noises come from the house and that 20 years ago, a writer lived there. The girl warns Shiva to leave the place immediately. Shiva decides to go back to the hotel and starts reading the piece of the book given by the police. As Shiva reads the book, he starts to understand something. It becomes clear that the writer had a friend named Charya Chandra. However, Charya Chandra is still alive, but the writer is the only one who has passed away. When Shiva inquires about the writer, Charya Chandra tells him that he will reveal everything about the writer. Shiva then returns to his hotel and resumes reading the book. He notices that the letters in the message on the keypad mobile match those in the book. Shiva starts to think that the writer's spirit might be causing harm to the children in the area. Just then, the keypad mobile rings, and Shiva thinks that someone might be watching and will eventually catch him in the act. Later, a doctor examines Shiva. After some time, Shiva opens his eyes and asks the doctor what happened. The hotel staff, seeing Shiva's condition, says that he fell and that Rahul had called him about it. Rahul is on his way to the hotel. The next morning, Rahul arrives at their hotel and suggests to Shiva that he should stop investigating and return home to settle down and start a family. Shiva, however, insists on staying until he has resolved the issue with the girl. During this time, Shiva finds out that the girl is pregnant. He decides to inform Rahul and plans to leave with him. He behaves normally, but later, after returning to the hotel, Rahul asks him about his condition. Shiva responds that there is nothing serious and continues to act normally. The next day, Shiva goes to meet Charya Chandra and talks to him. Charya Chandra tells Shiva that the writer had a deep affection for small children and that his love for them started to grow. Since then, many children have disappeared, and there seems to be an unseen force in the house causing harm to the children. Charya Chandra advises Shiva to be careful and to avoid any problems. Despite what the father says, Shiva and Rahul decide to go near the house. The house is under government surveillance, and Rahul warns Shiva that there could be problems if they enter such a place. However, Shiva is determined to investigate the house. When Shiva and Rahul arrive at the house, they find a box. Upon opening it, they discover items related to small children inside. At the same time, another message arrives on the keypad mobile, stating that there is a demon inside the box. Shiva then opens another box and finds that it contains only the heads of small children. Rahul, who had been missing earlier, reappears, and he and Shiva both see the masked person trying to bind Rahul. The masked person threatens to kill Rahul if Shiva does not comply. The masked person says he will not harm Shiva, but his real intention is to kill him. The masked person is eventually revealed to be Charya Chandra, who is behind all the killings. Charya Chandra admits that he is killing children to increase his power. He explains that he has already killed the writer in the house. Charya Chandra's goal is to kill all the children and gain more power. Shiva realizes that there are no real demons. It is Charya Chandra who is behind all these acts. Charya Chandra even attempts to kill the baby growing in Shiva's stomach, wanting to increase his own power. As Charya Chandra tries to harm the baby, Rahul intervenes, and Charya Chandra initially kills Rahul. Subsequently, Charya Chandra also attempts to kill Shiva. Police arrive at the scene and shoot Charya Chandra, ending the threat. Shiva records all of Charya Chandra's confessions on his mobile phone. The police, upon seeing the recording, decide to take action. Shiva's intention is to hand over the recording to the police. The film concludes with the revelation that Charya Chandra's crimes were part of a larger scheme involving fear and manipulation. Shiva, though shaken, resolves to address the issues exposed by Charya Chandra's actions.